Hi, welcome back to my channel. In yesterday's video, I talked about 20 of my most anticipated NetGalley titles. In this video, I am going to talk about some nonfiction arcs I received, and in the next video, I hope to talk about some fictional paper print arcs because I received so many. I would say that I receive about 20 books a month in print that I'm not really reading. So I thought that I should try to start reading these arcs that these publishers are so generously sending me. I'm going to edit this into this video just like my other most anticipated books of 2022 video. I inserted timestamps into the description box below. I will give you the timestamps for these books as well, so that if a title doesn't appeal to you, you can just scrub ahead to the timestamp for a title that might catch your attention. So let's talk about the non-fictional ones that I have received, because I think it's rather interesting that I'm getting nonfiction books for review, simply because I don't read a lot of nonfiction, and secondly because I have let these books pile up since the end of last year. So there's only a handful of them, but I want to get them read in the next month or two, and I thought I would tell you about them. They're from Celadon Publishing and from Grand Central Publishing, mostly from Celadon it looks like. Yeah. Oh, then I see one here from St. Martin's. So let's talk about them. And then, like I said, I'll make another video with some other print arcs that I really want to get read. So we're going to start now. Every time I get the nonfiction arcs, I get a letter from the publisher. This is from Celadon. And this book is called Unmasked, My Life Solving America's Cold Cases by Paul Holes. So this ought to be really good because I like shows like CSI and Criminal Minds and things of that nature. There was even a show on television called Cold Case that I used to watch years ago. So this ought to be pretty good. And so what I thought I would do is, just like when I made yesterday's video, I read the summary from the publisher. I'm going to do that as well. So I will be reading the back of the book. Now, this comes out in April, just in a few weeks, and it says, "From the detective who found the Golden State Killer, a memoir of investigating America's toughest cold cases and the rewards and toll of a life-solving crime." I order another bourbon. Neat. This is the drink that will flip the switch. I don't even know how I got here, to this place, to this point. Something is happening to me lately. I'm drinking too much. My sheets are soaking wet when I wake up from nightmares of decaying corpses. I order another drink and swig it, trying to forget about the latest case that I can't shake. Crime solving for me is more complex than the challenge of the hunt or the process of piecing together a scientific puzzle. The thought of good people suffering drives me, for better or worse, to the point of obsession. People always ask how I'm able to detach from the horrors of my work. Part of it is an innate capacity to compartmentalize. The rest is experience and exposure, and I've had plenty of both. But I always had taken pride in the fact that I can keep my feelings locked up to get the job done. It's only been recently that it feels like all that suppressed darkness is beginning to seep out. When I look back at my long career, there's a lot I am proud of. I've caught some of the most notorious killers of the 21st century and brought justice and closure for their victims and families. I want to tell you about a lifetime solving these cold cases. From Lacey Peterson to J.C. Duggard to the Pittsburgh homicides to, yes, my 20-year-long hunt for the Golden State Killer. But a deeper question eats at me as I ask myself, at what cost? I have sacrificed relationships, joy, even fatherhood, because the pursuit of evil always came first. Did I make the right choice? It's something that I grapple with every day. Yet as I stand in the spot where a young girl took her last breath, as I look into the eyes of her family, I know that for me, there has never been a choice. I don't know if I can solve your case, I whisper, but I promise I will do my best. It's a promise I know I can keep. So this is Unmasked, okay? I'm looking forward to delving into this book. I know it's going to be dark at times, but I'm going to go there. Now, here's one that's called Finding Freedom. And it says, a cook's story, let's see, remaking life from scratch. And this is by Erin French. Her name looks familiar. But anyway, I think she also, it looks like she wrote another book from maybe The Lost Kitchen, but I don't know anything about this. And I actually somehow have misplaced the publisher's letter. I wanted to see if there was any. Nope, publisher's letter's not in here, so let's read it. Okay, Finding Freedom. And this one, I think is already, nope, this one came out last April. This set, and these are advanced reader copies, so these would be hardcover books if you were to go purchase them now. These would be hardcover books if you were to go purchase them now, but because I got them as advanced review copies, they look like trade paperbacks. So anyway, for Finding Freedom, long before The Lost Kitchen, yes, that was obviously a previous book she wrote, became a worldwide dining destination. Oh, it's a restaurant. With every seating filling the day, the reservation book opens each spring. Erin French was a girl roaming barefoot on a 25-acre farm, a teenager falling in love with food while working the line at her dad's diner, and a young woman finding her calling as a professional chef at her tiny restaurant tucked into the 19th century mill. This singular memoir, in a classic American story, invites readers to Erin's corner of her beloved Maine to share the real person behind the Girl from Freedom fairy tale and not so picture-perfect struggles that have taken every ounce of her strength to overcome, and that to make Erin's life triumphant. In Finding Freedom, Erin opens up about the challenges, stumbles, and victories that have led her to the exact place she was always meant to be, telling stories of multiple rock bottoms, of darkness and anxiety, of survival as a jobless single mother, of pills that promised release but delivered addiction, of a man who seemed to offer salvation but in the end ripped away her very sense of self, and of the beautiful son who was her guiding light as she slowly rebuilt her personal and culinary life around the solace she found in food as a source of comfort, a sense of place, as a way of bringing goodness into the world. Erin's experiences with deep loss and abiding hope, told with both honesty and humor, will resonate with women everywhere who are determined to find their voices, create community, grow stronger, and discover their best selves despite seemingly impossible odds. Set against the backdrop of the rural Maine and hushly intense, bountiful seasons, Finding Freedom reveals the passion and courage needed to invent oneself anew and the poignant, I always struggle with that word, timeless connections between food and generosity, renewal, and freedom. So there you have Finding Freedom. So when it says A Lost Kitchen, I guess this is a restaurant in Maine. And I live in New England, so who knows, maybe one day I'll go there. Look at this one. It's the publisher's letter. This is a book of hope about Jane Goodall, and it's also written with Douglas Abrams, okay? And it says also with Gail Hudson. So Jane Goodall, Douglas Abrams, and Gail Hudson. And this is a survival guide to trying times. So the book is called Hope, the Book of Hope. So this one is already out. I know because I remember getting this last year. I don't see the release date, but I'm sure it's last year. I'm absolutely positive. Just trying to find the 2021. Yeah, I remember when I got this book. So it says, in a world that seems so troubled, how do we hold on to hope? Don't we need hope in these days that we're living in right now? Well, looking at the headlines, the worsening climate crisis, a global pandemic, love of blood, biodiversity, political upheaval, it can be hard to feel optimistic, and yet hope has never been more desperately needed. In this urgent book, Jane Goodall, the world's most famous living naturalist, and Douglas Abrams, the internationally best-selling co-author of the Book of Joy, explored through intimate and thought-provoking dialogue one of the most sought-after and least understood elements of human nature, hope. In the Book of Hope, Jane focuses on her four reasons for hope: the amazing human intellect, the resilience of nature, the power of young people, and the indomitable human spirit. Drawing on decades of work that have helped to expand our understanding of what it means to be human and what we all need to help build a better world, the Book of Hope touches on vital questions, including how do we stay hopeful when everything seems hopeless? How do we cultivate hope in our children? What is the relationship between hope and action? Filled with moving and inspirational stories and photographs from Jane's remarkable career, the Book of Hope is a deeply personal conversation with one of the most beloved figures in the world today. While discussing the experiences that shaped her discoveries and beliefs, Jane tells the story of how she became a messenger of hope, from living through World War II to her years in Gombe, to realizing that she had to leave the forest to travel the world in her role as an advocate for environmental justice. And for the first time, she shares her profound revelations about her next and perhaps final adventure. The second book in the Global Icon series, which tells me that I'm going to read the first one. The second book in this Global Icon series, which launched with the instant classic, The Book of Joy, with His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Desmond Tutu, The Book of Hope, is a rare and intimate look at not only the nature of hope, but also into the heart and mind of a woman who revolutionized how we view the world around us and has spent a lifetime fighting for our future. There is still hope, and this book will help guide us to it. Wow. We need this right now. Jane Goodall, The Book of Hope. I'm also going to look up The Book of Joy. I'll see if I can get it on Audible or from Amazon. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and get it. I'm going to read The Book of Joy first, and then I'll read The Book of Hope. Now, this next book, I'm trying to pull out the publisher letter. I don't know why it's stuck in there. Must be. That was weird. All right, so this is from St. Martin's Press. This came out February 1st. So I want to read this one. Now, this looks very interesting. This is called The Black Agenda, Bold Solutions for a Broken System. Now, we're going to struggle with the author's name. It's Anna Gifty Opiku-Agyeman. It's edited by her. The foreword is from Tessie McMillan Cotton. Okay, this book is overdue and imperative. Now, listen to this. This is the moment when we need most the voices who understand what the stakes are in Black lives. This book is the first step towards defining Black expertise, assigning value to the work that we do, and taking up space in the public on our own terms. This is a quote from the foreword by Dr. Tessie McMillan Cotton. The Black Agenda is the first book of its kind. A bold and urgent move towards social justice through a profound collection of essays featuring Black scholars and experts across economics, education, health, climate, and technology. It speaks to the question, what's next for America? On the subjects of policymaking, mental health, artificial intelligence, the climate movement, the future of work, the LGBTQ community, the criminal legal system, and much more. An overdue clarion call that can help heal our nation, the Black Agenda is a policy-oriented approach to creating a more just and equitable world. So this is, like I said, these will pretty much all be hardback books if you want to locate them. I'm going to try to link them in the description below. So that, one more time, is the Black Agenda, and this is the author, and no, I can't say that name properly. The next book I have, and I know I've had this for a minute. Let me look at okay, this looks like it's from Grand Central because they use a packing slip, so there's no point to showing the packing slip because it has my address on it. But this is She Will Rise by Katie Hill. Okay, She Will Rise. And it says becoming a warrior in the becoming a warrior in the battle for true equality. So let's see what this one is about. I'm not saying that I endorse all of these books and all of these ideas, but I think it's it would be very beneficial for me to expand my horizons by reading some of these print arcs that the publishers are sending me. Now, She Will Rise is from Grand Central Publishing, which I already said that because of the packing slip. And let's see, what do I want to... Yeah, I'm going to read the inside cover. I'm sorry, it's right there. Even if we stumble or fall, we can rise back up stronger than ever. And I think this came out in 2020. I've had it for a minute. Powerful women who dare to make mistakes face swifter and more brutal consequences than men. This harsh reality was never more evident than in Congresswoman Katie Hill's experience as a victim of cyber exploitation and the resulting uproar that precipitated her resignation. But Katie wants to help women everywhere rise above this rampant misogyny. Now in the 100th anniversary year of the 18th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote, Katie looks back on the progress we've made and outlines her battle plan for our future. In She Will Rise, she shares her bold mission to help women topple the long-standing power struggles that prevent them from achieving true equality. Using the wisdom she has gained from her personal experience of misogyny and double standards in politics, Katie explains how we can overcome the obstacles that are holding women back from achieving equal representation in positions of power to create lasting change. Katie Hill is ready to equip readers for the front lines of leadership in all arenas to guide women into becoming the warriors we need to shape this country for the better. No, I'm not interested in politics, equality, and anything of that nature, but I'm still interested in this book. I think it's going to be very, very good and very informative, especially since it's been so many years since the 18th Amendment was passed. Now, this one I've had forever. I'm embarrassed to tell you how long I've had it. I won't even tell you, but it's another Grand Central Publishing. It's called 30 Life Crisis by Lisa Schwartz. Now, this is something that is going to lighten my mood, especially after reading The Black Agenda and She Will Rise. This is a very light book, okay? Because it says navigating my 30s one drunk baby shower at a time. So it looks like it's like a satire type of a book. Yeah. It says here, a hilarious essay collection perfect for anyone dealing with the challenges, indignities, and celebrations that come with being a 30-something. I've long passed that, like decades ago. In 30 Life Crisis, Lisa Schwartz writes about watching her friends adult like pros while she tries to understand why she doesn't want or can't seem to find all the things they have for herself. Like a brutally honest best friend who's seen it all, Lisa shares stories that will make you laugh out loud and remind you that no matter how tough it seems, you are not alone. Unabashed and unfiltered, Schwartz's voice and candor will appeal to anyone who just can't deal with the never-ending Facebook feed of friends' engagement photos and baby pictures, the anxiety of trying to pretend you don't have anxiety, and everything in between. So if you've ever had to figure out parenting your parents, yikes! Discovering that your boyfriend likes boys, surprise! A sudden sloth-like metabolism, ugh! A gender reveal party, seriously, it's an actual thing. This book is your new best friend. So that looks like it's going to be enjoyable. The last nonfiction arc that I have, again, this one is from Celadon. I think they use a little adhesive for these letters. This came out July 13, 2021, and it's called Love People, Use Things. I have had this particular book on my desk for months because I need this book. It says, love people, use things, because the opposite never works. And let me tell you why I was interested in this book. The Minimalists show you how to disconnect from our conditional material state and reconnect to our true essence, love people, and use things. This is not a book about how to live with less, but how to live more deeply and more fully. This quote is by Jay Shetty. He's a New York Times bestselling author of Think Like a Monk. So how might your life be better with less? Imagine a life with less stuff, less clutter, less stress and debt and discontent. A life with fewer distractions. Now imagine a life with more time, more meaningful relationships, more growth and contribution and contentment. A life of passion unencumbered by the trappings of the chaotic world around you. What you're imagining is an intentional life. How many of us live intentional lives? And to get there, you have to let go of some clutter that's in the way. In Love People, Use Things, Joshua Field Millburn and Ryan Nicodemus, I forgot to tell you the authors. Joshua Field Millburn and Ryan Nicodemus, known to millions as the Minimalists, move past simple decluttering to show how minimalism makes room to reevaluate and heal the 7 essential relationships in our lives. Stuff, truth, self, money, values, creativity, and people. They use their own experiences and those of the people they have met along the way, along the minimalist journey, to provide a template for how to live a fuller, more meaningful life. Because once you have less, you can make room for the right kind of more. I just think I should read this because we are the opposite of minimalists. No, we're not completely. No. We're pretty cluttered around here. We have 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a large kitchen, dining room, and living room. And yeah, I need this book. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 books that I got as nonfiction arcs. Whether they're the Book of Hope or essays, satire, they're going to be very edifying reads, and that's what I need in my life right now. So I just wanted to tell you about these. I am next going to gather a stack of just regular romance. Oh, there goes the cat. I thought he wasn't going to come up here. Sorry. I will go through another stack of books and come back with another video. But thank you very much. Bye-bye. Another book I wanted to tell you about is called The Book of Moods, and this is by Lauren Martin. Why can't I say two simple English words? Lauren Martin is The Book of Moods, and it's how I turn my worst emotions into my best life. And it says that she's the founder of Words of Women. Now, I thought that this would be a good book for me. Part of it, it's from a publisher, but also because it's something that I think would be very edifying. I know I have used that word twice. So let's see what this is about. Let me see. This is from Hachette, Grand Central Publishing. I'm trying to see a release date. Let's find that. And 2020. Now, by the way, I already ended the video, but then I went to put those books in the other room, and this jumped out at me, so this is going at the very end of the video, so you're going to kind of get a little chunky editing in there. Let's see what this is about. I am no longer a woman who walks through the door ready to burst. A woman who assumes the moods of others, absorbing them and passing them off as her own. A woman who reacts and retaliates and rewinds scenarios like worn-out cassette tapes. Story of my life. How I expel, I radiate, I pass through. For most of my life, Lauren Martin thought that she only experienced insecurity and self-doubt that could derail her entire day. But after a chance encounter with a beautiful, successful stranger who revealed that she felt the same, Lauren realized that she wasn't alone. She set out to better understand the hold that her moods had on her and began to blog about the wisdom she uncovered. It exploded into an online community of women who felt like she did, lost, irritable, depressed, anxious, and desirous of change. The Book of Moods shares Lauren's journey to infuse her life with a sense of peace and stability. Each chapter explores a different psychological trigger, from familiar arguments to Sunday scaries, explaining the theories of anxiety, disappointment, and ego that helped her better understand herself. This conversational compendium of moods has something for everyone. Whether you're struggling with your relationship with your mother, the grind of your job, days when you wish the mirror had a Valencia filter, or all of the above. Blending cutting-edge science, timeless philosophy, and effective forms of self-care, Martin has written a powerful, intimate, and incredibly relatable chronicle of transformation. So there you have it. Lisa Martin's The Book of Moods. With what I have been going through since the end of January, so going into about 5 or 6 weeks of serious depression and anxiety, this might go to the top of the list for nonfiction books. Okay, and the last book that I decided to pull off the shelf, yes, I'm editing the video again, but they're worthwhile reads, and this is another Grand Central Publishing arc. Now, Grand Central Publishing doesn't generally send me a letter. They usually send me a packing slip. But I just want to tell you something about this. This is a true story, and before I tell you what it's about, there's some pictures in here, some actual black and white photos. Okay, so now let me tell you what the book is about. It's called Fighting for Space. Two pilots in the historic battle for female space flight. So look at the clothes, and look at the airplane, so you can tell that it's a very several decades old, and we're going to see about what it's about right now. It's by Amy Shira Teitel, Teitel, so Teitel or Teitel. This says that spaceflight historian Amy Shira Teitel tells the riveting story of the female pilots who each dreamed of being the first American woman in space. Oh my word. So when the space age dawned in the late 1950s, Jackie Cochran held more propeller and jet flying records than any pilot in the 20th century, man or woman. She had led the Women's Auxiliary Service pilots during the Second World War, was the first woman to break the second barrier, ran her own luxury cosmetic companies, and counted multiple presidents among her personal friends. She was more qualified than any woman in the world to make her leap from the atmosphere to orbit. Yet it was Jerry Cobb, 25 years Jackie's junior, and a record-holding pilot in her own right, who finagled her way into taking the same medical tests as the Mercury astronauts. The prospect of flying in space quickly became her obsession. While the American and international media spun the shocking story of a woman astronaut program, Jackie and Jerry struggled to gain control of the narrative, each hoping to turn the rumored program into their own ideal reality, an issue that ultimately went all the way to Congress. This dual biography, and I've never read a dual biography before, this dual biography of the audacious trailblazers Jackie Cochran and Jerry Cobb presents these fascinating and fearless women in all their glory and grit, using their stories as guides through the shifting social, political, and technical landscapes of the time. And it's a chunky read. It's only 400 pages, but there's some things I like about this. First of all, there's plenty of footnotes for reference, so you can tell it's a well-researched book. And like I said, there's some black and white photos in there. So I just had to include this in this video. It would be incomplete without it. So now this is the last book. I promise you. That's it. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Hit that notification button. I hate to ask you that, but I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so I can do a giveaway. Alrighty. Bye-bye.